For example, if there are 100 universities in Sweden, 70 offer scholarships.
All right, guys. So my name is Faith Moyosori Agbola, aka AFM Stories. And so AFM Stories is just really all about youth development, especially through educating people on opportunities, educational and scholarship opportunities. So there's a whole lot of resources on my YouTube channel, AFM Stories. I interview scholars just like Amara, people who have been able to get amazing opportunities, and they share their stories with us and we learn from their stories. So today we're going to be interviewing one of such important people. I'm really excited to actually listen to you. This video is recorded, by the way, guys, and it will be up on YouTube. So for people to catch up later, or for you to just watch and learn further from some of the things that he's going to be saying. Amara won a scholarship to Sweden, guys, a fully funded scholarship. Do you know what a fully funded scholarship is? That's just like all of your worries are over. You're literally learning at your dream school on your dream course without any worries about, paying for anything. I feel like that's one of the biggest gifts, and trust me, you don't know the kind of weight that is off your shoulders, just knowing that you don't have to worry about paying for any fees and you're just doing everything that you want to do. So we're going to be learning about how he has gotten such. The first question I have for you today is 3 years from now, or 3 years before now, did you think that you were currently going to be in Sweden studying on a fully funded scholarship? That's the first question I have for you.
Thank you very much, anyway, and thank you for inviting me. So I'll just go straight to the first question. 3 years ago, I didn't know I would be in Sweden, but I knew I would win a fully funded scholarship.
Okay. Why did you think so?
The truth is this: I was deliberate. I was deliberate about it. And I put up some efforts, put up some planning, some strategy, and I went for it. But I was never sure of Sweden until I'm in Sweden.
Okay, so you knew that you were going to be in a scholarship, but you were not sure on the specific country.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so the first question now I'm going to ask you is, how does it feel to be a Swedish Institute scholar, and why should anybody apply for the scholarship? What are the benefits?
Well, the benefits are enormous. Even that's the way you started the introduction. Imagine being a fully funded scholar without thinking of anything. There's something I would like people to understand. Scholarship is not just about the money.
Okay.
Scholarship is not meant for, especially graduate scholarship, master's or PhD scholarship. They are not for, I made a post one certain time on my LinkedIn page that they are not designed for the less privileged. So sometimes when we hear about fully funded scholarship, most people think of, okay, because I don't have money, they will have pity on me and they will give me the scholarship because I'm poor, but that's not what it's all about. It's not about the money. Yeah. But it's about what you're bringing on board. It's about how you are perceived. And it is called an award. The same way that music stars go and receive Grammy Award. The same way movie stars go and receive different awards. You as a scholar, beginning your journey as a scholar, you are starting with an award, a scholarship award. So it is more than the money. It is like giving you a trophy. Okay, welcome to the club. So now when you're talking about this benefit of SI, Swedish Institute, that's what we call it. We just call it SI as an abbreviation. Going specifically to that, what's the benefit of being a Swedish Institute scholar? Being a fully funded scholar is a great advantage. You don't pay for any fees. You don't worry about your personal upkeep. These things are taken care. The Swedish government takes care of all these things. You are given a monthly stipend, and your school fees is paid directly to your university. You also have insurance covering property and covering health. And also you belong to an association, a network. We call it Network of Future Global Leaders or Fellow Scholars. And the Swedish Institute also gives the network money to carry out some leadership activities. It could be in Sweden, it could be in Denmark, it could be, So,
Nice. Okay.
yeah, so you find out that winning the Swedish Institute scholarship opens up a lot of opportunities for a scholar. Knowing that, okay, you are going to a new country to learn, to grow, you don't need to worry about money or about your upkeep. That gives you all the chances in the world to expand your network,
True.
focus on your academics, and expand your opportunities.
Yeah. I feel like, guys, that's almost like a dream for anybody, because it's beyond even just a master's. You are gaining lifelong networks with other people that have been able to work their way to that place. They are developing you even in your professional journey. And I feel like that's like having something you get over a couple of years in one experience. So guys, yeah. So the next question I'm going to ask you is, okay, so Sweden as a country is not one of the most popular destinations. So a lot of people say, oh, I want to go to UK, I want to go to Canada, I want to go to USA. But Sweden seems to be like a new development, and it's not as popular in terms of destination. So you're in Sweden right now, you're studying fully funded. Why do you think people should consider Sweden as a country of choice? Why should they pick Sweden over the more popular options? Like, how has studying in Sweden been like for you?
Okay, I will answer that question from different perspectives. First of all, I'm a Nigerian. Okay. So I'll answer the question from a Nigerian perspective, and I'll also answer the question for the global audience. Now, starting from a Nigerian perspective, why Sweden? Sweden is not our first abroad travel choice as Nigerians. Like you mentioned, we think of UK, we think of Canada, we think of America, and there are two strong reasons why. One is language, another is economy.
Okay.
So America is very loud when it comes to the economy. UK is loud, Canada is loud.
Yeah.
And they are all English-speaking nations. So naturally, as an English-speaking country, Nigerians
people gravitate there.
Yeah, you go to UK, in every street there's a Nigerian.
Exactly. Everywhere, guys.
Even though the official language is Swedish, 80% of persons here speak English.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah, so you can stay here without, everybody you ever meet would possibly know how to speak English.
Exactly.
Especially when you're in the bigger cities, everybody you meet will likely know how to speak English. It's only when you go to the remote areas that, okay, perhaps, you might even be surprised about that.
True.
So, but the official language is Swedish.
But 80% of people speak English.
Yeah, yes.
Good, actually. Okay.
Yeah. So, but now, when it comes to why you should come here to study, while here is a good place to study, when it comes to the quality of education, currently America and UK still holds on the best according to QS ranking, but Swedish universities are part of the top 100 universities in the world.
Wow. Okay.
And people don't even know that,
I didn't even know that, actually. So nice.
But UK seems to be the study destination, because of so many historical things that has to do with their educational system. So, but the Swedish education system is as good as that. And secondly, the government, the environment is accepting international students more and more than they have ever. So more international students, they're opening up to many more international students. If you go to a study fair in Nigeria, you might see more of UK university study fairs some 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But right now, in the midst of UK study fairs or other nation study fairs, you will now start seeing Swedish. So there is this open arms welcoming international students. So, and any country that has an open arm welcoming you means that they have a value they have placed on you.
True.
While some other countries that are being saturated, they are trying a way to block you from coming.
True, actually, true.
This is once you come, we're opening up our arms for you. That means that they're placing a value on you. Now, and that thing is also many people who go to some other countries complain of things like racism, and things as such. You will be here, you will never experience such.
Wow.
Even if somebody is a racist by default or by whatever bad behavior, the person will only be a racist in their heart. It will never come out.
Ooh, so they are very civil.
Yes. People are even afraid of being called racist.
Okay.
So, so you will never see that, identity that comes with racism coming up here. Then we move further to the country as a place. It will surprise many to know that Sweden is the 16th richest country in the world.
Wow. Okay. Are you serious?
Yeah. It's the 16th richest country.
Wow.
And many people don't know this because their political leanings is mostly neutral. You hardly hear Sweden in a political turmoil with this place or this place. They always play neutral. They are a quiet country, they are peaceful, and that's why they might not be very, very popular. So coming down here, of course, you also enjoy that peace, and you enjoy that welfare that comes with the economy. Let me explain this welfare. If you know about the Nordic countries, you find out that they have the best social service system in the whole world, the best welfare system. Over here, if you're married and you're a student and you have kids, even though you are an international student yourself, even though you're a foreigner, your kids are entitled to free education.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's so many things that comes with, and so many privileges that comes with having the residence permit.
Wow.
Free health care, and when you become a permanent resident holder, these benefits expand. So there's so many benefits when it comes to social services, when it comes to welfare, citizens' welfare, when it comes to daily living, quality of life. So they are just and it's a quiet place. If you are the kind of person, if you are the kind of person that loves, where there's so much noise, where there's so, it's not good for you, quiet place, So it's a good place for studies, a good place for international students, a good place for migration. And of course, in all ramifications, this is a place that if an accident happens, it makes headline that an accident happened. And if peradventure by mistake or by whatsoever, someone dies by some negative vibes or negative news, it will make headlines as well. So you find out that when it comes to safety, when it comes to value of life, when it comes to respect, to dignity, respect to people, welfare, that Sweden is progressive. So then, of course, I must talk about academically. Why should a student, what's the benefit of coming to Sweden academically? Apart from the fact that of course, the universities are part of the best universities in the world, you will definitely get to mix up with the whole of Europe, the whole of America, the whole of Asia in one class. Wow. So it's a multiracial environment, a multicultural settings, and especially the big cities. You find out that in your corridor you have 10 countries in one corridor.
Wow.
So it's a wonderful place to experience such thing as a student.
Wow, it seems like you've been having like the time of your life. Like, I'm sure you have no regrets. This is like, you feel like this is where you're supposed to be in this moment. That's really beautiful to know. Like, I didn't even know a lot of this about Sweden. I didn't really have an opinion because I had not really researched or learned much about it. But just hearing you talk about it, it's amazing, guys. So yes, I'm really excited to even talk about the scholarships because you've been able to establish that Sweden is an exciting place to study, guys. Sweden is a beautiful place. Highly ranked, great economy, quiet, multicultural. I'm sure I'm not the only one that is excited. So we're going to go straight into business now. I'd like to ask, how did you find out about the scholarship? Because obviously, since it's not like one of the most popular destinations, I'm sure you will have done. Also, my next question is, how did you find out about the scholarship? So, since it's not like one of the most popular destinations, how were you able to discover it? How can people that are, looking up to you and saying, okay, I want to follow his step, how can they find scholarships like this? How did you find this scholarship?
Yeah, I remember what I said earlier. When you asked me 3 years ago, did I know if I'll be in Sweden? You have to be deliberate. That's just it. You have to be deliberate. It doesn't happen by magic. You don't just wake up one day and then a scholarship has been granted to you. You must put up some effort.
Mm-hmm.
So I searched. So 3 years ago, I've been searching.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 years ago, I was searching. I found so many others. I applied to so many others. I've gotten 50% scholarships. I've gotten 70% scholarships. I've turned down some, because they didn't satisfy what I wanted. So in the journey of searching, accepting, rejecting, growing, practicing and the rest, I got to learn about the Swedish Institute Scholarship.
Oh, okay.
And I applied in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, and the results were published in 2020.
Ooh.
And after applying for the first time.
First time applicant.
Yes.
It's amazing, guys. We're so excited. So we're learning from a first-time applicant that won it immediately. Guys, this is premium information. This premium info. So let's go straight into it. So the first thing I'd like to know is, you told us about the benefits of the scholarships, the benefits of the country, and how you found out about it. So I'm sure the next thing people would like to know is, who is eligible for this scholarship? So what are the eligibility requirements for aspirants?
Yeah. Now the scholarship is called. The institution that offers the scholarship is called Swedish Institute. Swedish Institute is like the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Okay.
It's an institute under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Okay. So an institute that handles such things for Sweden. So Swedish institutes are responsible for the scholarship, and they have different scholarships they offer. Eligibility is determined by so many factors. One is the country you're from. So they have a scholarship for a different. They have a scholarship called Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals, SISGP, and that one is for about 40 countries, which Nigeria is inclusive. Many African countries are inclusive. Asian countries, many countries around the world, 40 of them are inclusive.
Wow.
And then they have another scholarship for South Africans. Only South Africans are eligible.
Wow.
And they also have another scholarship for other set of persons. So, but I got the scholarship which Nigerians are eligible, which is called the Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals. So we'll dwell on that.
Okay, perfect.
So this scholarship, Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals, once your country is part of the 40 countries that are eligible, the next eligibility test is to ask yourself whether you have a BSc, because the scholarship is for master's program, and you must have a BSc, a bachelor's degree. We've seen cases where people who have HND have asked, are they eligible? So I have to mention this, that the scholarship on its own processes does not really care about your bachelor's degree. But for you to win the scholarship, you must get admission into a Swedish university.
Exactly.
First. So to get admission into a Swedish university, you need your bachelor's degree, and Swedish universities don't accept OND or HND. So I said the scholarship board does not really care about your bachelor's, but the admission cares. So that's where the connection comes in. So we can't separate the eligibility. So the next thing after being eligible, having your bachelor's, is to also note the purpose of the scholarship. The scholarship is called Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals. That means you have to be a professional in any field.
Exactly.
So it's not a scholarship for academic excellence. There are scholarships which are for academic excellence. No, it's not. This is a scholarship for global leaders, professionals who have worked and have years of experience and years of and leadership experience as well. So you must have work experience and you must have leadership experience. Even for the scholarship, there is a particular level of work experience you must attain, and it is calculated in hours. You must have worked for at least 3,000 hours to be eligible. So this 3,000 hours is mostly calculated if you work, let's say 8 to 5 p.m., 40 hours per week. We are talking about you must have at least 1 year and 6 months work experience for you to be eligible.
Wow. Okay.
So if you don't have at least 1 year, 6 months work experience, you are not eligible for the scholarship.
What kind of work experience? So is it like professional, entrepreneurship, volunteering, I don't know, internships? Do they have any specifications for the kind of work experience?
Entrepreneurship is also professional.
Okay.
Internship is also professional. So no, any work experience, as far as the work experience has a potential to show that you're a global leader, that you have something to offer and you have been doing such before now.
So you don't have to be in a leadership position in the organization, or do you have?
No.
Okay.
No, but you need to have a leadership position. It could be somewhere else. It could be where you volunteered. It could be, but for the work experience, you don't necessarily need to have a leadership position at your work.
Okay. So the major requirement from what I'm getting is ability to get admission into a Swedish university, and most times it's BA, BSc.
Yeah, exactly.
But they do not accept HND or okay.
Yeah.
And then what if people have masters? They can still apply for a master's again.
Of course.
Okay, does it cover people that want to do PhD?
No.
So it's strictly masters.
Yes, we also need to understand that PhD in Sweden is a different thing, a different ballgame altogether. In Sweden, PhD is seen more like a job where if you're offered a PhD,
okay,
it's mostly like you've been offered to come and do research for the university, teach for the university, and get paid a salary.
That's like assistantship, studentship, like assistant lecturer. Oh, okay.
So here, in most cases, PhD is not paid for, and they don't have any scholarship sponsored by the Swedish government.
Okay, so get admission to a Swedish university, and then leadership experience in terms of work experience. Okay, so those are the broad eligibility criteria. So now we're going to go into the application process. So once you are sure that you have met this, what are the different things that they require people to submit? So some scholarship require essays, some CV submission, some interviews. We're curious about the process. So what are the things that we're going to have to do on the different stages? So we're going to do one by one. So what's the first thing that you're supposed to do?
Get admission.
Okay, so let's talk about getting admission. How hard or easy is it to get admission to a Swedish university?
It's very easy. It's just for you to have a good strategy and calculate, do the calculation. You want to study a particular program, and that program, there is already a scope is covering. If you go to the university website, you see the scope the program covers in the university website. You see the syllabus, you see their entry requirements. Once you meet the entry requirements, you have a very high chance of getting admission. So getting admission into Swedish university is very easy. It's like you're 80% sure of getting admission.
So it's the scholarship that the work is.
Scholarship is a competition, it's the bigger competition.
Yeah, because I get that as well. It's almost similar to the UK as well. You have a high chance if you meet the requirements and you can communicate your value, but where the competition always is the scholarship. So get admission. So after they get admission, for the admission though, like I don't know the school, your own school, did you require transcripts, references, and CV? For people that are watching this that want to be interested in Sweden, just for them to have a rough idea of what they will need to start to think about getting for admission.
These are the things that make Sweden beautiful and sweet. They don't want to stress you, so they need the transcripts. Yes.
Is it
And
sorry, is it student transcript or you have to send it from your school?
now it depends. Now the way Sweden functions in such a way, their academic program, it functions in such a way that one, they have a central body that controls admission to all schools. Just like the same way we have JAMB of Nigeria, where everybody have to register with JAMB to enter a university. So in the Swedish society, you also have to register with a particular platform called university admissions.
Oh, okay.
So it is university admissions that you choose the school you want to apply to.
Wow. Can you apply to multiple though?
Yes, that's the beauty. You can apply to 4 schools at the same time.
Okay.
So if you don't get admission from first choice, you get from second choice. If you don't get from second choice, third choice. If you don't get from choice, fourth choice. So your chances of getting admission is very, very high because you have 4 choices.
True. So it's scholarship that is the work, Abi. So okay, fine, we get admission. So what's the next thing that we need to do for the scholarship? Like, what documents do we need? What are the things we need to go through? So what's the next thing?
Okay, let's say you've provided your transcript, your document. Let me mention this. While some other countries require English proficiency examination, for Sweden, if you studied if you were taught in English in your university, you studied your bachelor's in English, and mostly in African countries, you don't need to provide any English tests. So you don't need.
Are you serious? Because even UK that I'm in, I told them I was studying English. I still sent them my WAEC. So you do not send them anything at all.
No, you don't send them anything. As far as your university, if you studied in Nigeria, no English requirements.
What? Guys, are you hearing this?
So
there's no need to look for money to be paying for IELTS or the other alternatives. That is so amazing. Like, why people not rushing to be
French or you studied in some other languages or something?
What? That is so cool. Okay, so no English requirements. Personal statements, references, and CV.
Now, personal statements, CV, reference. Let me talk about the basic. The basic things you submit to university admission is your transcripts, your passport or national ID, if you studied in French or some other language, you have to submit English test scores. So these are the basic documents you're required to submit. But now, depending on your course and your school, the school you choose and the course you choose, some schools will require you to write a statement, some will not require you. If the school requires you to write a statement of purpose, a motivation letter, then you have to write and submit. But if the school does not require you to write, then you don't need to. So the same thing, any document the school now particularly requests from you, you have to submit it.
Okay.
So one person might apply, they require nothing of such, and that person will apply and they require all of such. So that's just
Okay. Yeah. But the beautiful thing I'm hearing here is that we don't need English test. Do you know how amazing that is? That's a barrier for a lot of people, actually. That's a barrier for a lot of people. Yeah, but seeing that isn't even a requirement, that shows a lot of thought and value, because we're literally speaking English in Nigeria. And it's always annoying for me for people to have to defend that they can speak English when you guys can even see that we're communicating with you in English. So for me, that's already a win-win already. That's already amazing. Okay, so we've gotten admission. Now we're going to the scholarship. So what's the first thing that they need to do after getting an admission?
Yes, the first thing you need to first of all understand the scholarship program before you venture into it. Now, it is not all programs, all courses are qualified or eligible for the scholarship.
Ooh,
so before you apply for admission, you should know that the course you're applying for admission is eligible for the scholarship. Now, every year, the Swedish Institute releases about 600 programs.
That's a lot.
Yeah, yes, that's a lot. About 600 programs are eligible. You must find your choice there. 600 is a lot.
And it's across disciplines, right? So there's sciences, there's arts, there's media. Okay.
So there's no way you won't find your love, your first love in the 600. So, but it's good to wait for the 600 to come up. and it usually comes up, the same time admission starts.
Oh, okay.
Just within the same period, they will release the list. Now you check out, you choose your courses from the list of eligible programs, then you apply for admission. Then after about, let's say, 3 months or 2 months before the main deadline for the scholarship, or the main deadline to end, for everything to stop, every application to stop, they will release templates for application. Now, in other scholarship programs, they might require you to fill a form online, answer some essays online, and the online portal will be open for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. But for the Swedish Institute, it's different. The Swedish Institute opens their portal for only 10 days.
What?
Yes. I'll explain that.
What?
No, I will explain that.
10 days.
Yes, I will explain that.
Okay.
So the Swedish Institute, they open their portal only for submission.
Okay.
So application must have been done before the 10 days.
Oh, okay. But they release the templates well ahead of the submission period.
They could release the templates 2 months ahead.
Okay. Because
the templates include, they will provide a CV template. That means you need to fill up the template, design your CV, fill up all your information in the template. The difference is that you follow their own format, their own templates. So you don't need to design your CV yourself. So the design is there. Just put your name.
People actually care about the applicants. Like, see how easy and I won't say easy, but see how straightforward it sounds. Because I know that all these things even makes it more competitive. But I like how intentional they are being about it.
You have a CV template. Then the next after CV is the motivation letter. So, but the motivation letter also comes in a template. The template will have some instructions.
Wow.
And it will have one question. For the past 2 years, they've been asking one question. 3 years ago, they asked 2 questions. 4 years ago, but for the past 2 years, they've been asking one question each year.
Okay. So
the motivation letter have one question which you have to answer. Let me remember the question. They'll ask you, when you go back to your country, what will you do? Something like that.
Okay, so you have to really think about your career plan.
Exactly. Then you answer that one question. So, but they will have a word count, as it usually is.
Do you remember the range of the word count?
The word is just 5 sentences, 3 to 5 sentences, about 150 words.
What? That is so short.
Very, very short. Like these 1,000 characters.
What? So you have to really think about those lines. Please give us tips. We're not saying you should tell us what you wrote in your essay, but give us tips. People that are here, like just general tips on what they can think about when they are writing that.
Okay, the question will be something like this. They say, how will your life in Sweden or your study in Sweden help make you better and help make you contribute to your country or to your region when you go back? So you first of all, before you answer that question, you have to analyze why they are asking that question.
Exactly.
Now, to understand why they answer that question, you have to understand the scholarship on its own. So what does the scholarship stand for? The Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals. This is a scholarship that wants to promote strictly the UNSDG goals.
True. Okay.
So if you understand that, you now understand that whatever you're doing, your career path must clearly satisfy one of the UN targets, the UNSDG's targets. So that is where to start. So now you identify where your career path, the target is actually towards. The way you've been working and where you intend to work on. That's the first step. Then the second step is to be specific. You don't just tell them that when I go to Nigeria,
I'll impact the world. I'll change my country. Yes. I want to change the country. I always tell them
that. You have to tell them that when you go back to your country, you are going to Gariki community to do this, and this, and this is the impact you are going to get. this is within this specific timeline. You have to be very, very specific. So these are in 3 to 5 sentences. Very, very short.
But how would they know who is good and who is not good in those small sentences? That's like so short.
Well,
to be able to market yourself.
They called it scholarship for global professionals. So they are looking at your CV.
Oh, okay. They're going to look at other things as well.
Then they are looking at your motivation letter. There are other documents too.
Okay.
Motivation
so
letter.
This document is called what exactly?
How do you mean?
This particular document with the lines is your motivational letter.
Yes, motivational letter. Yeah. So the next document is your proof of work and proof of leadership. Now, the scholarship eligibility is that you must have at least 1 year and 6 months or 3,000 hours of work experience. Now, they need you to prove it.
You said 10,000 hours.
3,000.
3,000. Okay.
Yeah, 3,000 hours.
I had 10,000. Okay.
Just 1 year and 6 months full-time work.
Okay.
So if you graduated last year, there's chances that you could qualify for next year.
Okay.
Now, if you also had some experiences while in school,
you
can also serve. Your NYSC for Nigerians can also serve. So once you have any 1 year and 6 months experience, you're good to go.
Okay.
So there's a template called proof of work and proof of leadership. So the template is just like a certificate document for you to tell us where you worked, who you worked for, what you worked as, and how many hours you worked on the role. Then after filling the form, the company you said you worked for will have to stamp and sign. Yeah.
What if you are not in the same state with the company again?
And that is why when the template comes out, they give you enough time to make sure you achieve all those things.
Wait, is it all the companies you've worked for?
No, just to satisfy.
Okay.
You have all the companies you work for, but you just need to show that you are actually certified that you worked at least 3,000 hours.
Oh, and you need backing.
Have one job that have done 3,000 hours. One is enough.
Okay.
But if it's more than one job to get 3,000, then that means you have to do two certificates.
Wow. Okay.
So the same thing on leadership too. You have to also tell us that you're a leader, maybe in a volunteer capacity or in a workplace or in any capacity. So you also have to certify leadership and how long.
So does the leader have to be head of department, founder and CEO?
No. You just have to lead people in any capacity. Team lead, CEO. Okay. It could be event lead in a volunteer project. It could be just leadership, anything that explains leadership.
Because some people tend to think, when they hear leadership, they're like, that means I have to have a brand. And I always tell them, no. You don't have to have a brand. You have a question here. Guys, you can drop your questions. Though I already compiled some that you had people that said earlier. But obviously, as you ask questions that are relevant, I could ask. Someone's actually asking a very important question. And he or she says, please, is there any age limit for the Global Professional Scholarship?
Yes,
that's a very good question.
Yes, being that the age limit is 18 to even go into these things, to be able to certify document yourself, then the maximum age limit is learning never gets old, You could be 90-year-old, we'll still give you.
Wow, that is like so cool.
Yeah, okay. So I personally know people who are 50 doing their masters in the scholarship.
Wow.
I know people who are as young as 23.
Wow.
So that says there is no age limit.
There's a diversity. I really like this scholarship. Like, it sounds so cool. Okay, so you're talking about leadership experience. So so the job experience has to show. Is together?
Yeah, it's like one document. You print these things out, you sign them, you upload them back. Then the last document is reference letter. It also comes in a template.
Wow. Okay, so what is that supposed to be about?
So reference letter, you have to get 2 reference letters for the scholarship. One is from your workplace, compulsory from your workplace. Then the second one is from anywhere. It could be from your school, your bachelor school. It could be from your workplace, another workplace. It could be from your volunteer. Could be, but they will tell you they will prefer it to come from a volunteer or NGO experience. But if it's from anywhere, that's fine.
Okay.
So, but the first one must compulsorily be from work experience.
So which one is your own that you use? That's a very valid question, because I just realized that you've not even been sharing your own journey in terms of your own experience.
I didn't use any NGO.
Okay.
So I used a network I was part of.
Okay.
So I'm part of some young persons network.
Ooh.
Where we do some volunteer works, not necessarily an NGO. So I use that, and of course it served. So, or even though they wrote there they prefer an NGO, but it's not compulsory.
Okay.
They might not judge you with that, but the first reference letter must be work experience.
Oh, okay. So it's two. One is work experience. The other one is like
anyway,
NGO volunteering work. So they want to see that you're diverse in two different categories. Okay.
Yeah.
So aside from that, what is the final step? Or
so
the
I
next
think
step?
These are the four group of documents, 4 documents that you need: CV, motivation letter, proofs, reference. Now, once you have this template filled 2 months ahead, you are ready to go. Now, a particular date where they will open up the scholarship application portal, you register your name, register your application number, upload your documents, you submit. After 10 days, the portal closes. That's just it.
And then how long do you have to wait? Is there an interview after?
No, there's no interview.
Wow, they just select. That is like so straightforward.
It's very easy and straightforward.
We still have some more questions to ask you, because I know it's not that straightforward. Anyways, but we have some questions here that we can just quickly answer before I ask you the next set of questions. So there's a very important question here from Taimi, and she says, what if I wasn't a leader? I was probably just a supply chain officer. Can I apply?
You can apply. Remember what I said? There are 2 areas here. One is work experience, strictly work experience, whether you're a leader or not. But there is another area, leadership experience. And it is necessary because there's a template to prove that you're a leader. Even if you've been a leader for 1 hour, you have to write, I was a leader for 1 hour for this event with this volunteer work or this NGO, and you get that NGO to sign and stamp.
What if you were a prefect in school? What if you were a student government leader? I'm just trying to see how diverse it is, or it has to be something professional.
No, that works. Leadership, that works. The thing that has to be professional has to be your work experience.
Okay. So what if you're a leader in church?
That works too.
Okay. So guys, it's diverse. She also says, how many applicants will they be picking for the scholarship? That's also a very good question.
Yeah, they pick quite low, but
so tell us, how many people typically apply and how many people do they typically choose? I really love that question. Thank you for that question.
Well, like you mentioned in the beginning of this chat, Sweden is becoming more popular day by day.
Okay.
Year by year. Some years back, only 4,000 persons will apply, 3,000 persons will apply, 5,000 persons, 6,000. But as of last year, 9,000 persons applied.
Hey. So wait, is that the global application?
They picked about 370.
That is low, but it's not that low because it could be worse.
It's low compared, it's low compared.
It's low, but it's not bad as one person, because that one will be worse.
Yes,
but do you know how many people they typically picked from Nigeria? Do you have a rough idea?
Yeah, last year specifically they picked 15.
Well, that's a sizable number, but that's very competitive actually.
Yeah,
do they do quotas, like this particular amount for this country, that country, or it's just purely based on merit and your application? Do you know if they try to split it across countries?
It's different depending on you. Now, they try as much as possible to achieve equity. In some cases, they might, judge African applicants as African applicants. and just some other region as some other region.
Okay.
So if they have maybe 50 slots for Africa, they will pick the best from Africa, 50 slots.
Okay.
So it's not like there is no one way to the selection. That's what I could get from what he replied. So it could be anything.
Okay. James says, is it mandatory to return home after graduating, or can you stay after securing a job in Sweden?
I can decide to stay here for the next 10 years if I want to. So here you can stay back if you wish to. You're not, nobody's tying you to traveling after your studies.
Well, that's really cool, actually. Like, that's really cool. Like, I really like that. Someone says, Michael says, how much is the application fee in Naira?
Yeah, I didn't mention it. For the scholarship, there's nothing like a fee, but for the admission, there's an application fee.
Stay.
The application fee is 900 Swedish crowns. That's the Swedish currency, Swedish krona, 900. And I can't categorically tell you how much it is in Naira. You should know what's going on with Forex, with exchange. But in most times, it's $100. Although that as of last year, Swedish money gained some weight, it became $110.
Oh.
As of last year, during the last year application.
So the admission cost, is it per university or for the entire process?
For the four of them.
Okay.
For the four of them, one application fee. So it's $100, $110. So if you convert it to your currency, whatever it gives you, that's the application fee.
Okay, so I have a question for you. I just got a question. That's so funny. Okay, so after paying for application and we don't get picked, what happens to the application fee? That's a very good question, to be fair, because that's an investment. So what do you have to say to that person?
Yeah, but then that means that you didn't make a good choice, because you've been given option to pick 4 universities, 4 different programs, and you are paying $100 for it. Why couldn't you make a good choice that you would get admission? Because that's what you're paying for.
I think the person is talking about scholarship.
You're not paying for scholarship, so scholarship is free. Anybody who asks you to pay to get scholarship is probably a scam.
Yeah, if you have to pay application fees, yeah.
For scholarship.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question. So my next question is, what is the biggest mistake any potential applicant can make when applying for this scholarship?
Overconfidence, that's one.
Are you guys hearing? Overconfidence. Okay, so we should be very humble when we want to apply.
Yes, you have to.
Why do you say that? Do you have a personal story to share?
In the beginning of this, you asked me a question about whether I knew if I would be in Sweden or not, and I told you I was deliberate, as of 3 years ago. Many scholars or many prospective scholars are not deliberate about the scholarship. For them, it's passive. When they call for application, when the portal opens, I just apply. No, it doesn't work that way. If it works for you, fine and good. But in most cases, you need to prepare. You need to see this as a project, a 6 months project, or a 1 year project. You need to see this as a 6 months project. Okay, I'm going to Sweden with this scholarship in 2022. I'm going to UK with Chevening in 2022. I'm going to this place in 2022.
Yeah, I get you.
1 year, you start your plans.
Exactly.
If you're very busy, you can decide, okay, every Saturday is for this, or every Sunday, or every Monday. It is a 1 year plan, a 6 months plan. But we have seen people who, after this session, they shove it aside. When the portal opens, they find their documents, they write the essay, they submit, and they expect to get the scholarship. It doesn't work that way. You need to really understand what they want, and it takes time to do that.
True. So you think that one of the mistakes a lot of scholars make literally is, number one, overconfidence, thinking they can do things in a short period of time and not planning ahead or planning adequate. Okay, I like that answer. So someone says, when exactly does the whole Sweden scholarship procedure and application begin in the year?
It starts October and ends February of the next year.
Okay, so that's when they release the templates and the portal period will open and all of that. Okay,
The
so they should be
scholarship,
monitoring
the,
it in October.
yes, the admission portal opens in October. They will release the dates. There's no date now. There could be dates. I will check out. The admission portal opens October. By the same October or November, they release the templates. So I can't say when exactly they will release the templates. Then in January or February, they open the portal, and after 10 days, they close it. So, if you calculate it, you just know that October to February, everything is done. Then in April, results are out. Both admission and scholarship, they come out the same month.
Okay, that makes sense actually. So someone says, okay, I think we've answered that already. Is it okay? I'll still ask it anyway. The person says, is it easier to get a full scholarship for a doctorate degree or a master's in Sweden?
Well, everything is, you need to look at these things from a different perspective. That is a perspective of competition, employment, and award. For the master scholarship, you are going into a competition with thousands of applicants who you are better than, or who are your equals, or who might be better than you. So that means that you have to make up an effort to make your story stand out. And that gives you the edge. For the doctorate, in Sweden, doctorate is seen more like a job. You don't just apply. The university and the department have to publish that they need you. They have to call for application or they have to do an advertisement. And then you apply. When you also apply, just like a job, you are submitting your CV, submitting your credentials. Other persons are also applying. So you also need to stand out, and they will now select. And when they pick you for doctorate, you become a staff of the university. You're not a student. You're not regarded as a student per se. In Sweden, you are regarded as a staff. You're paid a salary. You work for the university. You research. You learn, and after 3, 4, 5 years, you get a PhD. That's the way it works. It's unlike America and unlike some other places. But over here, it's more like a job. If you get it, you're employed for the next 4, 5 years.
Okay, that makes sense actually. James says, do we have any other scholarship apart from this scholarship? Definitely. I think even in Sweden, you mentioned 2 others, but the one he won is, I think, most eligible for a list of 40 countries where Nigeria is included if you are from Nigeria. And then even apart from Sweden, of course, there are lots of other scholarships. Like the one I won, there's Chevening, there is Erasmus, there is Commonwealth. There are many scholarships. So, but you just have to be strategic and know what you want from it. So whether you want to go to somewhere that is crowded, not crowded, whether you want to study in a particular country that you prefer, whether you want to stay back, whether they have the choices that you want, your opportunities. So you just have to be strategic anyways. There's a question here before I forget. What stage of the application process did you find most demanding?
Subscribe to AFM Stories.
It's signed and stamped, and the reason is simple. These things are sometimes not in your power. They're in a third party's power. Your CV is in your power, your motivation letter is in your power, but your proof of work and your reference is in another person's power.
Or you cannot see the references. You can see it, but okay, it depends on what they write actually. You can't really.
And like you mentioned earlier, distance could be a barrier. You might even, some people might not be tech savvy. You might need to travel to go and give them the paper to stamp and sign. So that's just the only part that could be demanding, because every other thing has to do with you. Even though that all the to write a motivational letter, to write your career story in 3 to 5 sentences is quite demanding.
Exactly, because that sounds very short, And that even makes it a lot more harder, because even 500 words, I know how complicated it is for scholars to even reduce it. Like, there are people that have sent me essays for traveling that is 500 words, and they sent me 2,000 words. Like, where do you want me to even start from? Like, so, and that's 500 words. So I'm not imagining that you're saying 5 lines. Like, how do you communicate your goals in 5 lines? Like, that even requires a lot of skill. Like,
when you tell someone to write 2 pages, 3 pages, they could write a lot of stories.
You can still explain, but to put everything in 5 lines, guys, you have to. It's not something you can do in a hurry. You have to have started it beforehand. You have to keep thinking and editing, because that's like your elevator pitch, literally. Yes. Like your opportunity to make an experience. So I feel like for me, that even seems like the most challenging thing in that application, because 5 lines. Are you serious? Yay! Anyways, I'm trying to not forget people that sent questions before, so let me just ask some of those ones. What was your unique points that made your SI application a success?
Okay, that question you might never know, because SI will not tell you this is why. And I found out that it is our ability to connect what we want with the SI goals. So we understood the SI goals, then we told our story better. You could have a very good story, a very good CV. You have 20,000 hours of work experience, but you don't know how to tell your story. You won't get it.
True.
So I think the ability to connect our story to the SI goals was just that. I
actually think that that's even very universal, because I've seen people that are very skilled and they come and tell me, oh, they've gotten rejected for scholarships. And then I see their resume, I'm like, you got rejected for a scholarship? Like, you that I know that you've done all these amazing things. Like, what exactly did you write? Like, I would like to see, because I feel like a lot of mistakes is that some people might not even have done as much as some people, but they're able to communicate their story better. They're able to tell such a way that people that are reading it will like it. And some people have done everything and they just can't like, I feel like even writing is a skill. Like, communicating, sharing your story is a skill, and it's not something that it's just let me just write, especially if you don't have writing experiences. Like, you have to be able to know how to share your story, and not just share story that is off point, but like he said, connect it to the scholarship goals. Now for this one, he has said that it is SDGs, so you have to start thinking about how you can connect it. Some scholarships have different requirements. Some is only like 4 specific goals at the least. Some is business, education, poverty. Some is networking, leadership. You just have to find a way to know what the scholarship wants, and then obviously work on it and align your story. So I really like that. I feel like that is very important, because it's about communicating your story, really. Do I need to state the same leadership position responsibility I had in the CV? The paid person is writing this thing. Let me just try and see if I can make sense of it. Basically, I think the person is trying to say that, do I need to say the same thing in my CV in the leadership
certificate,
leadership template or something?
Yes. Yeah, it has to be the same thing, because if it's different thing, then that means somebody's lying somewhere.
Oh, okay. So they need to be consistent.
In your proof of the certification proof, then someone is lying somewhere. It has to be exactly the same thing.
Okay. Where do we check for the scholarship when the time comes, please?
Okay. There are 2 important websites.
Okay.
One is universityadmissions.se for admission. So for admission, you go to this site, universityadmissions.se, and for the scholarship, you go to si.se. That's the main site.
That's so straightforward and easy to remember.
Yeah, si.se. Then you search it out. I've also shared it in the chat.
Okay. Yes, so I hope that answers your question, because some of these messages are in direct message. Okay, somebody says, what are the chances of getting a scholarship in tourism? So I'm guessing this is a general question, but for Sweden, are there like opportunities in tourism for someone that wants to study something in tourism?
Yeah, if you check out, like I told you, every year SI releases list of 600 eligible courses for the scholarship. Tourism is always there. Go to the website I just shared to you. You see the list used for last year. You can even make your choice from that last year list, because in most cases it's the same.
Most likely the same.
If there is any difference, it will be, it might not be very significant.
Okay. And generally, I always tell people that I don't think there's any course you can't get a scholarship for. It's just about researching. Like, one thing you can't get over, I feel like, is research and finding the ones that the opportunities are. I know a lot of people that are on scholarship studying tourism. Even the scholarship I'm on, there are people that are doing things related to that. I know people that have been shortlisted, longlisted, and all of that. So I don't think there's any course that you cannot get a scholarship for. I just feel like it might not be all scholarships that will allow you to study that course. You just need to find the ones that align with it. So definitely your chances are good. So if you're interested in Sweden, check the links that he said. And from everything he said, Sweden does sound like a good location. Is there a challenge of language barrier in Sweden? I think you mentioned that earlier. Maybe the person just joined, but you can just reiterate it.
Everybody, almost everybody speaks English. So you might never know there's a barrier except this science. So, but
they're communicating in English, but then they write some things in Sweden.
Swedish, yes.
Ooh,
so you might never know that there is a barrier, but there is a barrier.
Okay, so yeah, I hope that answers your question. There's some questions here. Anyways, I hold a BSc degree in economics. How do I get a fully funded scholarship to study for my master's in Sweden?
And that's all the answers.
Exactly. So check if your course is on the list that has been dropped, or if you are watching this online. Hopefully, I should be able to put the website, but just check if your course is among the eligible courses, and then see how you can do that. Okay, yeah, this is a good question. I studied optometry, and I'm yet to settle for a course of study. Please talk about the opportunities for medical students and what we need to know, as we are in a different field from you. This person must have researched you. But anyways, talk about medical students, because actually a lot of medical people tend to ask me questions. What are the opportunities for doctors? So you can just talk about that.
Yeah, in Sweden, your opportunity is so good that we are looking for you. I mean, the government is looking for you. So you are hot cake. You are needed.
Okay, see, you're a hot cake.
So, but the only challenge you might have is that I think it's the same thing in every country. Before you practice, you have to pass through the country's own system. You have to get some certifications, some indigenous certifications that of the. You also need to know how to speak Swedish.
Yes, so but can you even speak Swedish, Seth? That's a good question, because you've been there for a while. Like, can you speak Swedish?
Well, I can't speak Swedish yet, but of course, I'm learning Swedish, because to learn Swedish is free. There are schools you can join free of charge. So I've joined one, and I'm learning. If I see a sentence written in a book, I will be able to interpret it, but I might not be able to have a very long or meaningful conversation in Swedish yet. So I'm learning.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, what will you rate your skill?
My skill is very low. Let me not rate myself.
Rate yourself out here.
My skill is low. Some persons have ability to grasp language very, very quickly. Like I have a friend who learned a considerable language skill in 6 months. And there are persons who it will take longer. Like me, it's taking longer for me to reach her level. The level she reached in 6 months is taking me longer to reach that level. So
people are different, yeah.
So, but the language is It's not difficult because it's still in the, in the German, English, Norwegian, Finnish, bracket of languages. They still use the same sort of alphabet, only that some might have some strokes on top or under, something like that.
Okay. Is it possible to have a third class with 5 years experience in marketing communications and still get scholarship?
The scholarship does not care about your bachelor's. The scholarship only cares about your work experience. As far as you can get admission. So your worry should be, can I get admission with third class?
So can they get admission with third class? That's a question I'm asking.
But depending your university, your program, and if they require statement of purpose, now it's all about what you wrote there. Because they might be looking at your transcript is not good enough, but in your motivation letter or statement of purpose, you can now prove that you are really good enough and you get admission.
Okay. So for the person that asked, it's not really about the scholarship, it's really about the admission. So you have to be strategic, I guess. And I know that there are rankings. Possibly the higher schools might be more difficult to enter. I don't know. What do you think about that? How can the person be strategic? Or their schools don't really care about the grades?
Well, schools care about grades. Like most schools only judge. Yes, some schools only determine the students they take through transcripts. They will not require for statement of result. They will not require for motivation letter. They will not require for other documents. So if you apply to a school that is only judging you by your transcript, and your transcript is poor, so that means that your chances are low. So being strategic means that you have to choose a school that would also judge you by your work experience. So that's all about being strategic. Now, when it comes to how many numbers, how many students a school could pick, hundreds of persons apply for a particular program, but the schools pick only few. But it's not really about the ranking of the school per se. Some schools are more difficult naturally. But in the same line, let's say you talk about a school like Lund University. Lund University is the best university by ranking in Sweden. You talk about schools like KTH or Uppsala or Chalmers. These are very popular schools. Thousands of persons might apply for one program. And they are only going to pick just 40 persons. So because these schools are big schools, they can pick up to 40 persons. But if you now go to a small school, in a small school, only 100 persons will apply or 50 persons. But because they're also small schools, they will only pick 10 persons for the class, for per class, I don't understand. So you find out that it's about what you're bringing on board. It's not really
what you bring to the table. I've actually seen some scholarship questions where they say, oh, how can you contribute to this cohort? So you actually sometimes have to show how they're not just helping you, but you're also a plus as well. I feel like that's very important. So many direct messages. Someone says, I think you've answered this too, but what are the prospects of staying back to work after studying? I think you've mentioned that already.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love to join an NGO to gain experience in regards to the scholarship requirements. Please advise me on how to do that.
Many NGOs are looking for volunteers all over the world. It could be remote NGO, it could be physical. This is COVID era, so most things are remote. So many people are looking for people who will volunteer for them and get things done.
So I feel like getting what's the word now? Getting volunteering opportunities isn't difficult. Like I just feel like a lot of brands will be happy to have you work with them, to be honest. So I just feel like what I just think is one thing that helps people, it's not compulsory, but I've noticed that it does help, is if the NGO you're working in is a little related to what you're trying to project to them or the goals you're trying to say you're working on. I feel like if you can pick something that is a little relevant, though sometimes it's not compulsory. I've seen people that their experiences is not the same with what they've applied for, but it still works. But I know that if where you volunteered or where you worked is a little related to your goals, it tends to help. So, but like you said, you can definitely get an NGO. You just need to go to organizations, check, are you volunteering? If they never write it, email them, hi, my name is this, I would like to volunteer in this role. Tell them what you can bring to this table, hype yourself, push yourself forward. Like, I'm sure they would accept you. Let me just see if I'm not missing any questions. Sorry guys, there's so many questions. Oh, okay. Someone is giving a tip. The people that asked about looking to join an NGO should probably join Lagos Food Bank. The person should check them out on Instagram. Yeah, they do quite a lot as well. Hope I'm not missing anything. Does work experience give you a better chance compared to first class?
For the scholarship, yes. No, they don't care about your academic. Get it? Just know that they don't care about your academic qualification. For SI scholarship, it's about your professional experience. There are scholarships that are about academic excellence. Those scholarships are there, but not SI.
Exactly. So hope that's it keeps. I think one thing he has really reiterated here is the fact that it's not about just your grades. It's also about your work experience. So just think about what the scholarship is about, and then promote yourself literally. I'm just trying to ask the questions related to scholarships first. I searched the scholarship and I'm seeing SI for South Africa and the one for global professionals. I can't find the list of eligible courses. I think you said it's not yet out, right?
Yes, you only find the list for last year. For this year, it's not yet out. It will be out from October. That's when you start looking out for those documents. But that of last year, you can use it to start your preparation.
Okay, so I think he has answered that as well. Can you apply for multiple schools? So guys, I think he said you can apply for multiple schools. So let me just see if there are any final questions. Anyways, guys, there's a lot of questions about how there's a lot of questions about how you can contact him. You can just tell us your social media handles so people that want to reach out to you. Yeah.
Well, to reach out to me, the fastest means is through my blog.
Okay.
Yeah, just go to my personal blog, www.amariz.com.
Okay, so that's amarizu.com for those that want to reach out to him. Oh, thank you, Combat. It says thank you for these different interviews with scholars every week. It's amazing. Thank you. I'm grateful. And thanks to the scholars too for always coming and dishing amazing information to us. People like Amarizu, we're happy to have you. Do you guys have any final questions before we leave here today, guys? Because I think we've spoken for quite a long time. We've heard a lot. Like, I'm sure our brains are full. So if you have any final questions, this is your time to drop it before we leave. Anyways, while I wait for final questions, thank you so much, Amarizu, for today. It was really amazing. I learned a whole lot from you. The highlights for me today is that Sweden is a good place to study. The experience is beautiful. Okay, before I conclude my outro, somebody has a question. How do you get paid for your upkeep?
Okay, the scholarship covers both your flights, your upkeep, and this other stuff. So once you land in Sweden, you will give it an ATM card.
Okay, that's like traveling as well. That's cool.
You use the ATM as you please. If you like, you can go to club with the ATM.
Anyways, so so thank you so much for today. I really learned a lot from you. It's always amazing to speak to scholars because I just see the drive, the passion, the experience, and the intelligence. Like, it's just always, I can always see it. So today has been amazing. Thank you for living up to our expectations. Thank you guys so much for coming today. So if you, for the replay of this video, is going to be up on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AFM Stories. I'm just gonna drop it here so you can watch it, replay, and just, learn from it. And then there are other videos with other scholars. So obviously this is on Sweden. So if you're interested in studying in Sweden, but there's also for other countries. So there's Chevening, there's Commonwealth, there's Mastercards, there's Ireland, there's the different countries really, guys. So if you want to learn about other countries and other scholarships, you can also check out the channel. Anyways, it was amazing talking to you guys today. I've learned so much. Thank you, Amara Izu. Keep shining, keep riding, keep impacting lives. We are rooting for you. And thank you all of you for joining today. I hope you learned a lot. Please, 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 if you're on this journey, I believe in you. You will get a scholarship. Just be deliberate. Just keep fighting and keep learning. Keep attending webinars like this. Keep trying your best. Keep putting in the effort. And I feel like you would get anything. So any final words? Do you have any final words for people that want to apply for the scholarship? People that are thinking, hey God, will I get it? Can I get it? I want to be like you. I want to be in your shoes. What final words do you have to inspire people before we close?
Okay, my final words are basically, when applying, don't rely on one. Apply to about 3. Let your, choose 3 scholarships, at least 3, that will take you or make your study abroad dream a reality for 2022. And then start now. Now gives you 6 months, 8 months, 1 year to prepare.
Exactly.
Start now and prepare for it. For Sweden, for example, some persons just apply for SI. They just apply for SI, but they forget that if there are, for example, if there are 100 universities in Sweden, 70 offer scholarships. So why choosing your course and your school? Why not also target universities that offer their own scholarships as well? So that by applying to the same Sweden, you have 2 scholarships options. So you have to find these strategies and embrace it, and then make them come alive in your job or your duty or your eagerness to achieve this dream.
I really like what you said, because that's one thing I always tell people. You start early and don't apply for one. Like, it's just always good to have backup plans. And it's even similar to what you said earlier about overconfidence. Even though you're putting in your best, it's always good to have a back, especially if your plan is next year, I'm leaving this country, then you have to start working towards it now and apply for as many as possible. So, because sometimes even the best of people tend to get rejected. So be strategic. Apply for Sweden. You can also try other countries as well, other scholarships. Just diversify your options. And even within the scholarships, so like you said, in Sweden, there are school-specific scholarships. Even in the UK, there are school-specific scholarships that do not require you to come back. In the US and different countries. So it's just about you being strategic. So thank you so much for that final word. I really love that. And thank you for today. I hope you had fun, because I had fun. I learned a lot. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys next time. Don't forget to, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us to grow. So you can also get access to watch the videos. And yes, bye guys. See you next time.